From awkward family dinners to groundbreaking court cases, here are the stories of interracial couples who defied the odds. Number 1. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? This is a romantic comedy drama released in 1967. When their daughter announces her engagement to a black doctor, a white couple's liberal views are tested. The couple travels to meet her parents, where they must confront the hidden prejudices that arise. Tensions escalate as both families struggle with the relationship, especially when the parents strongly oppose the union. This is a classic and perhaps the number one movie you think about when we are talking about interracial or even international couples, even though it has been criticized because it still shows upper class characters, and the movie ends up being a misrepresentation of the reality of most Black Americans at the time. That being said, here we have a stellar cast with Spencer Tracy, Sidney Poitier, and Katharine Hepburn. Despite the criticism, this was crucial, being the only movie represented such a reality, since interracial marriage was historically illegal in many states in the US where this story takes place, but also in other countries in the world. On a personal level, this is dear to me because my family is one of these interracial families, and the marriage between my parents was one of the very first interracial marriages in my hometown back in the 80s, and they faced the same struggles that you can see with this couple. Despite not being upper class and so on, the prejudice is there, the stares, all the people that will judge you throughout the rest of your marriage, not only at the beginning when you're considering marriage. And don't get me started on people on the streets commenting on the color of the skin of your kids, because to them it doesn't make sense, it doesn't match your own or something like that. It's a whole thing and it goes on for the rest of your life. All things considered, I still enjoy watching this movie, and I believe it opened the door to all the others that you will see on this list. Number 2, Qu'est-ce, qu'on a fait au bon Dieu? Or Serial Bad Weddings. This is a French comedy, and in here we have 3 different movies, and I think I could recommend you the first 2. The third one was not as funny or remarkable as the other 2, or perhaps you could even stop at the first one. A French Catholic couple's world is shaken when their 4 daughters marry men from diverse nationalities and faiths. Each marriage brings a new set of challenges, testing their traditional values. The family must navigate cultural clashes and changing dynamics as their daughters choose partners outside their religion and heritage. This is relatable, filled with stereotypes, and that's exactly the point. Personally, I enjoy French comedies because they don't look stupid to me compared to other comedies, but you may disagree, since it's still a peculiar kind of comedy. They don't take themselves too seriously and don't fear to depict societal issues. What I appreciate about the first movie in particular is that it's jam-packed with these stereotypes, the overreactions, and not only stereotypes in terms of who are the men coming from different countries and different religions, but also the French family. So in this case, the parents of these 4 daughters, and how extreme that depiction can be, or how funny it can get when you have to face your own beliefs, traditions, and even stubbornness. It's certainly one way to look at interracial marriage, religion, and culture. And sometimes that's all you can do. Just laugh about all these silly stereotypes, all the things that we grew up being convinced that they were the absolute truth, that there's only one way to do things, and there's only one religion. It's all demolished in this type of movie. And since we are here laughing about it, we can face it more easily. And this is why I really appreciate the first, and I think also the second. I don't really remember what's in the second one, what's the plot, but if you've never seen the first one, Give it a go. Number 3. Alex and Eve. This is an Australian romantic comedy released in 2015 and based on a 2006 play of the same name. A Greek Orthodox school teacher and a Lebanese Muslim lawyer fall in love despite their family's strong opposition. Their relationship is forbidden, creating an emotional struggle between love and loyalty. The couple faces immense challenges as they attempt to bridge the divide between their cultures and families. This is loosely based on the life of the writer of this movie, and it's both a simple but enjoyable comedy, as it is, and a good starting point for commentary on, once again, our prejudices and specifically interracial couples in a different context compared to the previous ones, because in here both families emigrated, while in the previous two at least one of the families was living in their own country. And this is something that I truly appreciated because, well, we don't see this combo that often, a Lebanese and a Greek, and I loved it. Some say it's the Australian take on My Big Fat Greek Wedding, but I disagree. There is so much more in here, given the religious background, and as I said, the fact that both families moved to Australia from different countries, which is why you see different and new dynamics in these families, because the protagonists grew up or became adults in Australia, and so they also adapted to the local culture and customs in general, not necessarily the religion, but there is some kind of divergence between their views and their family's views. And that's a really interesting conversation to have. And since it's, once again, a romantic comedy, it's a bit more light-hearted. Number 4, Christmas as Usual. This is a Norwegian romantic comedy released in 2023 and based on a true story. To celebrate their engagement, Thea brings her Indian fiancé to her small hometown for a traditional Norwegian Christmas with her family. However, cultural differences between his background and her family's customs stir up holiday tensions. What was meant to be a joyful visit quickly turns into a festive clash of traditions. I wasn't sure whether I should talk about this one, but since moving to Finland, I learned about Nordic traditions, and some of these traditions here in Finland coincide or have a good correspondence with the ones that you see in Norway around Christmas time or around meals, winter, and all those traditions. So in a way I could relate to this story as well because I watched it while being in Finland. And if you've watched all Christmas movies available to you and you skipped this one for some reason, or actually I don't know if it's available to everybody because it's on Netflix, but I'm not sure if it's available outside of the Nordic countries or something. I hope it is, or at least I hope it's available during Christmas time so that you can check it out. And here we see a bit more of the clash on foods, for instance. So the traditions around food, which are quite strong. I believe in all countries that celebrate Christmas, they all have at least one main dish or one tradition related to food or something like that. And so this is, once again, quite funny. I felt secondhand embarrassment for them, but I thought it was a nice depiction of a true story in the end. I didn't realize it was a true story until the very end when we see the ones who inspired this movie. They only show up after the credits have started rolling. Number 5, Guess Who? This is a romantic comedy from 2005 and it's a loose remake of the 1967 Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. A young woman plans to introduce her fiancé to her father during a visit home for her parents' 25th wedding anniversary. Her father, expecting someone who shares their background, is stunned to discover her partner is white. As the clumsy guest struggles to fit in, he must work hard to earn the approval of his skeptical future father-in-law. Here you can see the parts that are switched because the family hosting this guy is black, and it's probably my least favorite on this list, maybe because it's a sillier type of comedy compared to the French one, for example, but also the Australian and Norwegian and so on. Perhaps there's another thing. I don't really like the actor who plays the male protagonist, but if you set aside him, the rest of the cast is quite funny and enjoyable. And I don't expect much from a rom-com anyway, but if you want a more contemporary take on the 1967 movie, maybe check it out. Number 6, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. This is a romantic comedy released in 2002, and it's the last comedy on this list. After this, we will switch gears a little bit. A 30-year-old Greek woman feels the pressure of her family's expectations as she remains single and stuck, working at the family restaurant. Things take a turn when she starts working at her aunt's travel agency and falls for a charming teacher who isn't Greek. As she embraces love, she must also navigate her family's disapproval and her own cultural identity. This is just the first movie, but there are 2 more. And I recently watched a third one, which you could easily skip. It's bad compared to the other 2. And the second one, once again, I don't really recall it, because the first one, just as it happens with Qu'est-ce, qu'on, bon Dieu, the first movies are memorable, are enjoyable, are revolutionary for what they do. And I seriously doubt you never heard of this movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, because it's objectively funny, and perhaps it's a bonus, the fact that it came out in 2002. So it still has that kind of nostalgic feel that I believe many of us are seeking right now. That kind of movie in which technology doesn't play a huge part because internet was barely there, barely used. The relationships were slightly different from what they are now. And so perhaps we look at these movies with a different eye no matter what, because we miss that time. But it's true that it's also a perfect depiction of an interracial marriage, and it makes fun of all the stereotypes and all the silliness that comes with thinking that you are the only one who knows the truth and you are right and everybody else is wrong. It's also an easy movie to re-watch. Number 7, Where Hands Touch. This is a romantic war drama released in 2018 and is based on historical record of the persecution of black people in Nazi Germany, even though the specific story is fictional. Set in 1944 Nazi Germany, a biracial teenage girl faces the harsh realities of survival as the daughter of a white German woman and a black African man. She forms an unexpected bond with a Hitler Youth boy as they confront the brutal truth of their surroundings. I can relate to this one specifically more than others because the female protagonist is biracial, which is my case, and even though the environment is harsh and terrifying, we still see 2 teenagers who are discovering each other and who wouldn't even notice color or different traditions and so on if they weren't told so. This is ultimately a coming-of-age story of love and awakening in the shadow of war and oppression. It's definitely a difficult watch, but of all the World War II movies, this is truly dear to me, even though I only had the courage to watch it once. Number 8, Loving. This is a biographical romantic drama released in 2016 and based on a true story. In 1958, an interracial couple married and began building a life together in a small, more racially mixed Virginia town. Despite the peaceful beginnings, the state arrested and exiled them for violating segregation-era laws. Their struggle to return home sparked a legal fight that led to a landmark Supreme Court ruling in 1967. This was a crucial story to learn about, specifically because it's based on true events, and it actually invalidated state laws prohibiting interracial marriage. Once again, it's difficult to watch, and I'm sure it would fit in my inspiring movies selection, which should be updated because I have so many more, because probably due to the unjust treatment that these 2 among all the other interracial couples who had to hide, had to experience, we really need to learn about it. We really need to face this problem, at least through a movie, which I love when it's educational as well. So if you missed Loving, it's truly worth watching. Number 9, Far From Heaven. This is a historical romantic drama released in 2002. In 1950s Connecticut, a well-to-do suburban family living by strict social norms finds their world disrupted by personal and societal upheaval. As the wife navigates a crumbling marriage, both spouses make decisions that stir scandal and challenge the racial and sexual boundaries of their time. The fallout shakes their community and transforms their lives in unexpected ways. I rewatched this movie last autumn because I was looking for autumn vibes, and this probably has the best color palettes if you're looking for autumnal movies. It's incredibly beautiful to look at, and maybe this makes it easier to watch this story, because in here we not only have racial injustice, we also have a discussion around sexuality, or rather we see how much the societal norms of that time, and we can also apply this to our time for different things, maybe. But you can see how much these affected families and how much you ended up pretending to be happy, to be someone you were not, or to make your community happy, because that was the whole point. Nobody cared about your own opinion or your rights. I'd love to know if you have already watched this one, what you think about it, because it's beautiful and heartbreaking, but I don't know if I've ever heard people talk about this one. I've been thinking about making this video for a long time because I couldn't find 10 movies. So, in a way, I gave you 2 options for the French movie and 2 options for My Big Fat Greek Wedding. So we could say that we passed the number 10. But if you have any recommendations about either interracial or interfaith couples, is that how you say it? And they could be comedies, but also dramas, biopics, and so on. So feel free to think of different genres. But I couldn't find a 10th. So this is all I've got for you today. Let me know how you feel when you watch movies like this, specifically if you are not in a similar situation or you didn't have an interracial relationship and this is not a topic too close to you. How did you feel about laughing, looking at this, laughing at these situations and enjoying comedies around this topic? Let me know in the comments down below. And now that you watched this, check out the video on the screen. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss my upcoming videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.